Welcome back to class, dear students. In this course, we are going to be looking at building and integrating Solana Anchor Program into a Solana Mobile dApp. So that means we'll be making use of React Native and Expo and learn a lot from building the Solana program using Rust in Anchor and then connecting it to the front end. So like you can see on your screen, this is what we are going to build. From the previous mobile course, we built this together using the official repo, and I told you to build something with this blank page. So now I've also done my own homework, and what I feel we'll be learning together is moving this from like blank page into something like this. So we still have like home, the blank page, but I decided to just put this, but we'll put this maybe to replace the blank page here. So what does this counter onchain program does is that we will deploy a program on Solana Devnet, and then we build a UI for it in our Solana mobile app powered by React Native Expo. So if you are new to that, make sure you watch the first Solana Mobile Course 001, which I take you by hand into learning all you need to start as a beginner with React Native Expo, and then transforming the knowledge into building your Solana mobile, first Solana mobile dApp, which is this, and now we are moving forward to turn it. So if we come to this counter now, you can see if I sign out, let me sign disconnect. This is not real money. This is free developer so which you will see here as well. But our wallet isn't connected, and you see saying waiting for wallet connection. And when you see show Solana program info, this help you to debug some things. It help you to get the PDA, because the Solana Anchor Counter Program will be using a PDA to store the counter values, and so we should be able to connect with the PDA and retrieve the program or counter value that was stored inside it, show it both as raw data, and then convert it to the readable counter number you will see here. At the same time, this tells you the number of counts you have added, and you can add count with any of these button. You can increment it. And aside from that, if we are starting, the way Solana program is built, we will see, and I'll break it down for you, so don't worry. As a beginner, I always keep you in mind as well. So Solana program, unlike EVM, Ethereum based programs, smart contract, which has the code and the data in one place, Solana split both. So that also gives us the opportunity to have like a PDA which store data. And for you to do that, we need to initialize that PDA first. But once we initialize it, anybody can connect their wallet and increment the counter with any of these numbers. So let's connect our wallet now. You can use Phantom, you can use Solflare. So those, I think for now, those are the two wallets that seem to support the Solana Mobile Wallet Adapter. Now you can see it now that it says this has been initialized, and this is the raw data, and we have been able to pass 51 counter. So let's quickly try to add maybe 10, for example. you can see this now, and if I slide it, success. So we have this transaction. If I close, it should take me back to the app. So you see it now. So this shows verification issue here. But if you look at it now, the counter is now 61. So which means this is actually live. And if we check, this is the program here, and this is the PDA, you can see it. Oh, the emulator want to crash. Just don't do that. So this is the PDA, and you can see it is on Devnet. And if we refresh, this is 19 hours ago. We just did that transaction now. You can see it now. This was just 54 seconds ago, and if we look at it, it tells us that we call the increment something. So we'll build the program together in using Anchor. We'll deploy it, and then we'll build this interface together. So we will go through all this together step by step. We'll be able to deploy this everything step by step, which means you will learn to integrate Solana Program into a Solana Mobile dApp and have it integrated and interact with wallet and things like that. So meanwhile, if you like what I'm doing this every weekend, it's not easy, but helping you to educate a lot to build on Solana, you want to support, please consider using the donate link in the description. At the same time, join the email list if you want to be among join the Web3 Dev email list, where once it gets to a level, I'll be able to start sending weekly mail and update on courses, content I'm working on, and in case I also spot opportunity, maybe Web3 developer job post in Solana ecosystem and beyond and things like that, I may send it as well. And maybe tools, including AI tools and things that can help you build better on Solana and your Web3 development journey. So you want to join the email list as well. So meanwhile, since last episode 3 or so, I've introduced a section we call the sponsor section. So which is the section we are now and open if you are a Solana project and want to support to keep this going. Every weekend I do this, exploring Solana ecosystem projects and guiding devs, creating dev education course every weekend on this Solana Builder weekend episode. Then kindly consider to reach out below so that we can discuss. But for this, for now, I want to do a shout out to our sponsor, which is Unofficial. And when I say Unofficial, means this isn't paid for. You understand? So, but these are projects like I've been doing for some weekend now. When I see some Solana project that can help developer or grant and things like that, I can also feature them. I did last week. So I'm featuring some other projects as well as Unofficial sponsor. Hopefully in future they can become official sponsor and have this paid for. So shout out to Solflare, and it's one of the wallets I use often personally on Solana. So if you are a developer or new to Solana, this is one of the wallets you want to check out and have it. You can be on mobile, on PC and things like that. So, but majorly now, I think they are introducing Solana crypto card, Solflare crypto card, which allow you to spend your stable coin on Solana almost anywhere in the world. And I think for now they are open to wait list. So if you are interested, you want to check it out, always you want to check them out as well. So you can go through here as well. So that's it for the sponsor section for this episode. We can now get back to building. Welcome, dear friend. I'm Solomon Foske, founder of the Programming University, a free Web3 development education platform. Please note our content are for education purpose only, not financial, trading, investment, programming or development advice into any of the platform discussed. Always do your own research. And please, we may get sponsorship, partnership, token or whatever form during, before or after creating this content, but we try as much as possible to remain unbiased and make it educative. If that agreed on, let's get right into this content. Yeah, we can now start building. And the first section we are going to look at is how do you build your Solana program with Rust, which is the counter that handle all these things so that we can have it deployed on Devnet and be able to create the PDA and interact with it. So I will do a breakdown, especially for beginners, but I always suggest you check on the Solana Mobile Developer portal docs. So there are lots of things going on there, and that example and things, including like counter and more, that you can check out. Though the one of the counter there, last time I checked, wasn't up to date yet, but probably by the time you'll be checking, I may even try to contribute to it as well, so if approved. If not, you can just use the repo that I will be showing you in this. So we are going to be using this Solana Mobile React Expo dApp template, which we built from the previous lesson. Like I showed you this, and that was built based on the official Expo template, but I made some updates and adjustment to it together with you in the course. So that's why I created a separate, so that in case you want to have access to it, you can. So this is the templates I am using to build on, and I have created another repo for Solana Mobile Anchor Counter dApp. So React Native Expo dApp. So as you see it now, you can go here. If you find it helpful, please remember to give it a star, and then you can fork it and start using this. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a fork of this into my personal account. Yeah, so I was expecting it to fill here. Then create a fork. So now I want to clone this. So that's is where we now move on to build our program, so that we can have something like this first. So I have this folder to use. Open in terminal. Then in our terminal, we want to do git clone, paste. Yeah, we got this cloned, and I think I need to cd into this, cd, and I will be using VS Code. I always test a lot of AI tools for developers, including Web3 development, and from time to time you see me changing different IDE and editors and tools to show you based on what I test. So recently now I've seen that I used to use Cursor more than Windsurf, but now it seems VS Code is catching up. I'm telling you, I was surprised when I retest a lot of these things this week. A lot of amazing feature is already there now. They are even open beyond OpenAI API. So they now use best coding AI LLM like Cloud and things like that. So we'll be using VS Code. So we got this now. Yeah, so I think now I got this moved over here. This emulator, we can want to now to set all these things up to start building on Solana Mobile. Check the first Solana Mobile Development Course 001 before this. So I have that covered. I won't be going over. You will learn how I use setup environment, use emulator and more. Now let's first run this and have it running like this, so that we'll begin to see it as we are doing what we want to do here. So to go through that process, let's quickly run this. So like I said, I won't be going over all this again because I did so in the previous course. So we are just going to make use of this blank and build something there. So like I told you in the previous Solana Mobile course, here now we are looking at the component and the utils and all those things. So we need to run this. So I need terminal, new terminal. So the first thing is to install the packages that you have inside here. So you want to have all that installed first. So usually, I use pnpm, but since I've been doing courses on and building with this mobile React Native Expo, I was forced to start using yarn because pnpm seems to have some issue with that. So, and that's why if you see most of the Solana Mobile official repo, they will always recommend you try to use yarn. So that's why we do yarn install. So I always try to do it again to confirm everything is done. So we have this done and we have our node module and things set here. The next one we want to do, I just like to have another terminal, is up to you. So here now I want to run the build. You remember from the previous course, you need to run the build and we are using EAS. So please, like I said, you don't need to be confused as a beginner. If you can't understand what I'm doing here, there's no issue there. Just go back to watch the first Solana Mobile Course 001 first before you come back to this 002. So you will understand everything I want to run here. We did all this together, so we need to do it to have the app running like this. So now let's close this down. Then for us to use the EAS, we have all that previously set for us. So we just need to run EAS who am I to know if we are logged in. So you should have logged in your EAS account. So I keep repeating that. Go and check the previous course. Everything is covered. So once you confirm we are logged in, if you see updates, just make sure you update to the latest. So then the next one you want to build is to build with a local. And if we go to the package JSON, that's where we are. We already also have it here, but you don't need to use the npx or something. So EAS itself is okay. So if we just copy EAS build flag profile, is development, the platform is Android, and then the flag should be local. Remember the EAS, if we don't make it local, then there will be issue. The issue will be is that it will go and build the app using our EAS remote, so which we count towards our monthly build, especially if you are running free account, which is just 15 build. So we don't need that. We want to test everything locally now, so we need this, and we are building here for Android. So any other platform you are doing for, but most of these two now for Solana Mobile work more for like Android, unlike iOS now due to some restriction, but I still work on it. But there are some things that may not be done, and things like Solana Seeker phone is also Android phone, not iOS phone. So if you want to submit for Solana dApp store, it's Android, so it's not iOS. So if we click on here, before that there are some things I check, like this app JSON. Yeah, if there's already an EAS something here, you want to check that. I'm coming. So when we set it up, it want to connect with an ID on the EAS. So let's see. Let's just see it. Would you like to automatically create EAS project for, so, and you know you should have an EAS account, expo.div. You can see it. So all those projects, as you build it, that's what it's trying to do here. It will connect it to your Expo account so that I can track it. So would you like to, do we want to do that? I say yes, we like, so that we can keep track of the project build. So click yes. So link here, and you see that immediately it did that. It created this project and link it with the ID on your, so if we refresh this now, let me duplicate first so that in case, and just refresh, you can see it now that we now have this as well. If we go to our project, you can see it that we now have this particular project as well, which you can see the name very well. And here you have it, Solana Mobile Anchor Counter dApp, and there it is. This one was for the first lesson course I was telling you, Solana Mobile Course 001. So, and this is the new one. Now it's time, he said we should go ahead to generate the Android a new key store. Yeah, because this is just a fresh one. So, and if we are installing it, we want it to install a fresh something, so that by the time you are installing it on your Android device, real device, or your emulator, it will not, we got a lot of app I've worked on here, all this white and so you understand. So for it to be there, I need to use another key. If not, it will maybe want to override the existing one or not install at all. So let's click yes. So it should create a new key store for us. So this sometimes do take a bit of time, so we need to give it that time. For now, you don't do anything, just let this build. At times there are some errors like that, just don't stop it, except it stop itself. So some of the error don't stop it from, because it's saying no license feed, so no license feed. So that's if the error is so serious and maybe a bug with it, it will not build. So but if it builds successfully, it will work. Yeah, we got this successful. Do I even zoom in at all? Sorry for that. I have to zoom it in so you can see things better. We got this, like I told you, don't mind a lot of all those errors that might come at times. As long as it doesn't stop by itself, please don't cancel it. Just allow it. If it stops, then. So we have built this successfully, and all these I've done in the previous course. So we have a build with your Android APK that you can now install on any Android device. You can install this in your normal Android device. You can install it in your emulator. So we'll drag it and drop it inside the emulator. Install field insufficient storage. Field to override. Oops, insufficient. I've tried to uninstall some, so let's try again. Oops, it's an issue now with this emulator. Cool. So I will likely try to work on seeing how to allocate more memory to the emulator, because it seems it's now full. But you see now that it installed successfully, and we need to come here. So the only issue I have here is that I have a lot of mobile something here, so it's a bit difficult for me to know which one it is. So what I will usually do is to clear all these ones off. So but let's leave this, but close this. So we'll be able to know which one, as long as you have installed it into the emulator, like you have seen it, I've successfully installed it. That's why this Solana Mobile something was 3 before, is now 4. So let's go back and we need to run it now. To run it, I give in another terminal. Like I said, it's up to you, but it's just at times I may need to rerun some of these things, so I leave them. So because this will be like the server that will continuous running, so I need to let it be. So for us to run this, to ensure it streamline whatever changes we are making here, we can run npx expo start. So you can also pass flag like div client, like I've seen, but I've also seen that this also works. But at times if you are getting error, you can try that flag there. So let's try this first. So this we can be able to identify. So this is what I use, so that in case I have multiple apps like this I'm building and testing, then once I do this, it's able to only use the key store and all those things that were created then to run that specific app from the emulator or from your phone. So let's set other port in use port. Yes. So you can have, I would say you should, if you are running this on your Android device, first try to know how you get this into your app and install it manually. So install it first. When you install it, then you can now connect your Android to the phone, and when this has loaded, you are in development build, not Expo, go development build. Then you want to click A. That is Android. So whatever that is connected, if it is your emulator, if it is your actual real Android device, it will try to go and load this APK with the key store and all those things inside of it. And if it's not seen, it will say not install error. So if you are seeing that, it means you need to install this particular APK on your emulator or your device. So this on, you see it now, and then we have this blank, and this is what we need to convert and build our counter dApp interface UI into the app. So if we go here, let me go back to confirm this is working. We can try to connect our wallet. So like I said, you can use Phantom, you can use Solflare. So I think those are the two that still support the mobile wallet. Maybe in future other ones will support it as well. So this is not real money, please. This so you can see it. I can click here to airdrop more. I think that was 14.9. So this airdrop one sold for me, and then becomes 15. So if you go to Solflare now, the amount will be higher. So it's just for development, not real cash. So here we have this blank now, and you see that it has access our wallet and all those things already set. So, and you can set cluster here. Cool. That once we have this going, our app is ready. It's now for us to, transform this blank screen by integrating, and that moves us to the next section to that we'll be talking about how to integrate Solana Program, Solana Anchor Program into your Solana Mobile dApp, using React Native Expo. Yeah, so for us to do that, let me minimize this. So inside this, your root folder of the Solana Mobile Counter, that we want to go here and create a new folder. Call it whatever you want, but I just want to call it Solana Programs. Yeah. So we know that this is going to inside all our programs will be inside here. Remember, it should be inside the root, not inside the SRC or anywhere else. So now let's see here. We can now, when I'm building on mobile, I use a lot of tabs. For example, you cannot even close this, because if you shut this down, then you won't be able to run. Your app will run normally, but whatever changes you make, it won't. So we even need to see that we are even well connected. Let's go inside screen. Home, no, blank screen. Inside the blank screen, this blank screen tab, change to counter. Though we might not, because I want to keep building specifically, but just to show that this is connected. If I save this now, it should show instantly. If it doesn't, then there might be issue here. Let's see. Then you want to use R for on your press R, it refreshes. Maybe there is an issue streaming your updates. So you see it now, but it should be in real time. Counter 2. Let's see. You see it. So if you notice it's not 94.5. So it should be updated. So we might even still leave the blank, but we will now create another, the counter something, and then more things will be building later on mobile. So I think we've confirmed that this is now, and we can change it back. So cool. Let's go back to our Solana program. So inside it now, I want to open a new tab, and for that tab, what I want to do is, if I ls, it show me all these things inside the root. I want to go inside Solana program. So this, you need to ensure you pay attention. You have to cd into this directory before you start creating the next step. So cd, paste. So good. If I do ls now, there's nothing, right? Just like we have it here. So inside there, let me clear. Inside there, I want to do initialize an Anchor project. So, but before I do that, I think I want to show you. Let me open a new something here. Yeah, so you can see it. I want to do some checks to know if I do Solana version, that shows the CLI version, AVM version. So you need to ensure all these are set before you can build Solana program. So we already have a course as well for a full stack, how to become a full stack Solana dApp developer. I teach you front end, back end using Next.js, and then the back end using Supabase and Postgres. Then we build setting up environment and things like that to build our Solana app program using Rust. We also even did EVM there, so you should check that. So we need to set up this. AVM is Anchor version manager, help you to manage different Anchor. So if I do Anchor version, that's the version. But if I do VM list, it shows me all the Anchor version that exists now, and this tells me the one that I've installed, and this installed, but this is the latest. I don't know by the time you'll be watching. The current, anyone you see current means that's where your CLI is. So this CLI is using the current. So what that means is that if you are initializing an Anchor project, a new Anchor project, it will use that current. For example, if I put it in 0.29.0 or 0.1, then when I initialize a new Anchor project using the Anchor init command, it will use this setup. So make sure you pick the one you want that your app, your program, Solana Anchor program to use. So I'm going to use the current. This is the current as of now that I'm doing the video. Don't know when you are watching. So now let's see. So that's important for you to see. And I also want to do Solana address. So that's the address we've set, Solana config get. So I love to show all this. So some of you like, what's the environment? In case some things are not working, you want to check to ensure you are aligning. So all this environment matters before we jump to development. So you can see that I'm on Devnet. So if you are on mainnet, you should make sure you do like Solana config get set it to this URL, and then it set it to the devnet, or you use your AI tool. That's why you have in here, you can just pop this out and ask AI. And this is so interesting now, so and integrated with a lot. And if you are also on the premium, you even have access to more latest cloud versions and things. So and that's why like, wow, it seems VS Code has been my like best IDE of all time until the AI era came in, like towards the end of like 2023, 2024. So, and since then I had to leave it for cloud, for Cursor and Windsurf, but now it seems is attracting me back. So, and the sub is also even cheaper, and still having access to a lot of all those things. Now, including agent and things like that, if it makes changes, you can click it auto apply them. So these are things that attracted me as well to cloud. Why is saying cloud to Cursor, and cloud is LLM. So now that we have this set up, Solana, they want to have Solana balance for that address, so that if you don't have enough balance, because you will be deploying, you want to go and get some. This wallet now is different from the one I have in this emulator, so it might just be a little, you see it, if I drop this now, so because let's just add to reload it. So there's an error there getting. So if it breaks down, you can just close the app entirely and come back. It's either you stop it or click A for Android, and then it will locate that app again, and then reload it from the beginning. So you see it now. If you also want to troubleshoot, you can click J, and that will launch the debugging interface for you, as you see it here, and that can give you some breakdown of what is going on in case you are having some issue. So keep those in mind. Let's refresh this. Yeah, so let's get back to here. Like I say, this is 15.8, so it's not the same wallet if you see it compared to this address. So all this environment and setup need to be there correctly, devnet and things like that. So I have like 15, so you can deploy, but I may decide to also use the Solana facet for devnet. Facet. That's Solana. So in case that will not be enough, you have to have connected your GitHub. So, and currently I think you can take this twice. So for you, if you set up this and don't have, you just go here, make sure it's set to devnet, not testnet. So you see it, airdrop successful. If I do balance again, becomes 20. I think I can have max of 10 every 8 hours or 9 hours. So that's like twice a day or so. So if I try this again, it won't work again. I've visited past 8 hours. So good, we are set up with this now. Let's close and go back. So as some of you may also ask, like this, like my system set up like 8 core, and you see the memory, I'm using Linux. So I had to even do extra 100 gig swap. So like I'm having a RAM of about almost like 140 gigabytes, and you can see how it still use it, because that emulator is like you are running your Android. So for some of you that may have issue, keep that in mind. You need a lot of space when you are running emulator. If not, you run it directly on your phone to save your system if it doesn't have. But if you're on Linux, you can create swap enough to take. I have the normal RAM is 33 gig or 35 gig, but I create extra 100 gig swap, so it shared some of it to it. So for some of you, and that's why you see at times it will be bringing some crashing alert and things like that, because it's consuming a lot of memory. Now we got Solana balance is now 25. So since we have this now, we are ready to go. Just want to ship that in for you. Let's go back here. Now that we have all those setup confirmed, let's get back here, and remember we are inside this Solana programs and nothing here yet. So we want to do Anchor init. So then we just put the name of the anchor we want to, the name of the program we want to do. So but because Anchor by default we initialize in Git like a repo, and since this is inside the repo, remember we fork it, it will cause conflict. So we need to add no-git flag, so that it doesn't initialize another Git and cause issue for us. So then we need to put the name, which we call counter. So we call this our counter, so counter program, and that's it. Anchor init, no git. If you are doing it in a complete standalone that you want it to initialize with including git, then put it in counter program, and we have enter. So you see it now. So it's because if I shift this, you see it. So it seems a bit confusing, as if it's the only one there, but no. If I do here, new folder, demo program, yeah, so we can now understand it. So inside this Solana program, we have this two folder now, counter program, and the demo is just there for you to be able to understand it. So things like that can be confusing. Now this is counter program, and we have initialized it with Anchor that has installed everything we need. And just for some of you that learning Solana Mobile and also you need to take that previous course, though it's more of web, but the Rust aspect also help you a lot. So but let's quickly just go. The app is for like front end. We are not using it there. Migration for like deployment. Then this is where your program goes, and you can see it. The Anchor program is here. Then we have inside it is the inside it is the source. That is where your actual Anchor program goes. Let's minimize this. So this, it comes with a default sample with just a greeting. So we'll clear all this. Then your cargo is where you set up things like the Anchor language you want it to use and things like that. So then this, usually you don't touch it like that. So we have this our target. This creates a key pair, and then it will have house our IDL and types, which we still use later. But for now, it just contains a key pair, which is like your private key to access and deploy your program. So then the test is where you have the test. You can run the test without actual front end to see if your program works. So that's just all. And then the anchor, just like your package JSON, like here, but for anchor to see what is going on, the counter program. Then all this, we adjust them. I just run you through your Cargo.toml. Also, most time all of this one you don't touch except you really know what you're doing. So then this, since this already too big, yeah, so this shows the things we need. Anchor 0.31. remember when I showed you when we are doing this, that we initialize, you see that everything, it initializes it with 31.1 or whichever one you make current. So let's go back, and some other dependency that go in line with that Anchor version. So this for your TypeScript auto, and this one is if you are using Yarn. So since you are using Yarn in a project, and Anchor and all those things usually use Yarn, so this Yarn auto-generated Yarn lock, when we run it auto-run Yarn install for us. But if you are started, I still say we run it again, Yarn install, to confirm everything. You see it that, but make sure you are in this folder. Inside it you have cd into Solana Program. No. Are we inside the Solana Program? We need to cd into counter. This thing can be confusing, so take your time and know. We should be inside paste. Let's minimize the app side. So we are inside Solana. We have this, we have demo, then we have this counter. So we need to go inside cd inside this before we start doing anything. Counter program, and if I ls, then it lists all these things for me. So make sure you are in there before you run that Yarn install to be sure everything is okay. So we have all those things installed already. Now the next thing we want to do, once we have that now, is we can run build our app and all those things, but we need to write our program first, which is inside here. I have the code already, so but we'll go through it. So I will just put it there. You can always just use your AI to tell it what you want to build, and then I will also explain how that works for us in terms of the program. So this is the program we want to run, which is the actual like the actual Anchor Counter Program that we want to run. So this is like a basic counter, and if we go through it, we have import necessary Anchor framework. Then we declare the program ID, which is when we deploy a program. Then define the program module. This is what turn our import a lot of things and turn our normal Rust function into a Solana Anchor program. So that's why you see a lot of all these things like macro things. You see them, the type of how that should be treated by Anchor. Then we want to initialize the instruction that's create a new counter. So I told you, and I will give you a kind of description of that, but just a run up there. Then we want to initialize the counter account, which will be a PDA. So then we want to have another function that allow us to increment. So we just have two functions here. One, we need to initialize accounts, and two, we need to be able to increment that number, whatever we store into it, and that account will be a type of a PDA. So then the payer, the size and things like that you can go through. Then these are how the increment will be stored. So like counter.bump and all those things. So, and the format it will be in. So the size and all those things. Define possible error code for the program. So in case there's error, some message issue output. That's why you now have your AI. Anything that is confusing, you can ask. The AI will guide you. So I think I want to do a simple Solana Anchor program drawing for you, like I used to try to get you to understand. So basically what you are having there is that you have an Anchor program like this, and that program, usually your Solana program always have like 2 in 1, which is one is your execution code, the execution code. The other one is the data. So this one stores the data, but everything together work as your Solana program. So if we are deploying it now, this is how it is. Now inside this execution program handles this. So inside this now, we are going to use it to create what initialize. That is what you saw here, which is going to initialize, and when it initialize, it's going to, let me have a text. So we are going to initialize here, and when what we are initializing is actually a PDA. So it's a program derived address. So you can learn more about it, but this is not controlled. It's just your Solana wallet address, but it's not controlled by a private key. It's derived from your Solana wallet address. Now you have a private key. You can use that wallet to derive another wallet without the need for a private key. So, and this is onchain there. That's the PDA, and you can learn more about it as well. So we initialize a PDA here. And now inside that PDA, we'll have data, and that data is what we will have as our counter, so that we have a more visual understanding of this. We have our counter. So this is what actually stores whatever we are building, that stores it for us. That's where you have like this. Once this initialize it, then it's able to store this counter, and that will call it later. Yeah. So now this counter PDA, so our program now, the way it will work in the front end, from the front end side, so is that we will be able to call a function here as well that help us to increment this counter in the PDA. So we can now say this we have another one here, and what we are doing with that is to increment. So we want to increment here, and this goes back here. So we initialize with this from here a PDA that has that counter storage, and then we can now increment from here, and this we can do from our app. So that's a basic something of how this works. Solana Counter Program. So this is a kind of how this work. We are able to, so that is what that code is trying to achieve for us, and from there we can now begin to increment, and when we increment, our front end should be able to do this, both increment and also retrieve back whatever we stored here. So we will now build that together. So I hope that helps you to have a better understanding. Don't forget to, if you want to stay up to date, join the email list on what I'm working on next for this courses, and then in case tools, AI tools, or even normal Solana tools, and in case also Web3 development, Solana job opportunity, grant opportunity, and things like that for developers. I may also share them there as well. So you want to be on the email list, and if you like what I'm doing, like, subscribe, tap notification bell, retweet, share this, and support with a donation, please, to keep this up, and also recommend for projects to partner, become sponsor, to keep this going free every weekend. Now, if we now have a better understanding of what is going on here, stay confused with anything, pull up your AI and ask for it, and they have a generous, even free tier like the Git Copilot. So now, if we have this done, normally the next thing you want to have a test for your, so from this now you can ask the AI to write a test, but I'm not going to spend more time on that, but that's the best practice to test your code as well. So for now, let's just go to build and then deploy this on Solana Devnet. So for us to do that, we want to do Anchor build. But before we do Anchor build, because you remember that when we clone this from here, it wasn't having the target folder, because the sensitive folder, your git ignore usually get it off. It doesn't get committed into the public like this, so because it contains private key and things like that. So because of that, one thing that would have happened is that because this key now will not generate the same thing here with this Anchor program, and the same time, remember, we just copy over this code here, so which means the ID here and the ID inside our anchor term and all those things will not be the same, and that will be an issue for us later on. To prevent that, instead of even going here changing it manually, there's a sheet code anchor command you can use, and to do that we just need to run anchor keys sync and then it will sync everything for us. You can see it updated. All program ID are in sync. Please rebuild the program to update the generated code. So this, I think this is what is on here. And if we go back to our Solana program, you see it that it's now matched with what we have in Anchor, and any other places we need this, it will match. So let's go. There are some things we will need here, but I just want to do some things. Anchor build. Let's run this up. Make sure you are inside this Anchor program folder. So as you can see now, we got error here. S file not located. So you already know this proc macro 2 issue. If you watch the previous course, this is one of the issues when using Anchor now. So because the Anchor latest 31, and then this proc macro 1.095 has some issue with it. So here you can see now. So we need to like downgrade it to a lower version first, and then we might also need to downgrade this Anchor version a bit, but let's first give that a try. So for us to do that, we'll run cargo. So that's inside our cargo lock. If we do F3 and 1.0.95, so this is the macro we need, 0.94. That's where the issue is not there. So we need to run cargo updates with proc_macro 2. Cargo updates p proc macro 2. Then we want it to be precise, not the latest, 1.0.94. So update proc macro 1.0.94, enter. So you can see now that this has been updated to 1.0. We don't see 1.5 again. So it's 1.0.94. So let's retry and build, do the build again. If it doesn't work, then we also need to adjust the cargo tone here. Yeah, we still got another similar issue. So now local file something too. Let's go inside this cargo, inside the program, cargo tone, not the cargo tone in the root of it. And here, change this to version 30. This is, instead of 31.1, should be 30, because I've seen that it works with it based on experience. We tried it in the last course as well. So then save it, ensure you save it. Yeah, so it will be 30.1. So that 30.1 plus the macro that we change to 1.0.94 seems to work together well based on my experience. So let's retry it again and let's see. So it might give you some error. We are having this set at 31, so don't worry about that. Just it's still set at 31. By downgrading that 2 versions, I hope it should be able to work now. This to 30.1 and then the macro. So you can see it now that we didn't get any error. To confirm, if we anchor build again, to just run and then everything gets finished. And over here, if we should be able to have our IDL ready and the types as well ready. So we need both for and ensure they have this same address and everything like that. So the last thing we should do before we move off from here is Anchor deploy. So we want to deploy it on the Devnet. So remember, make sure you have all this already set up. Anchor address, Anchor config get, you are on, and then you have enough so balance. So you are on Devnet with the Solana CLI. Once we have that, we want to Anchor deploy here. So error sending request to, I think I intentionally do this for you. When you get this error, you want to go inside your minimize targets, go inside Anchor.toml, and we want to deploy in Devnet, and this usually come when you initialize it local net. So we need to change here. The program should target Devnet, not local net. And then here we need to set the registry should be pointing to the local Devnet, or if you are going on mainnet, so you can copy the URL here, the RPC URL, and then use it to replace this and save. So I think that's the two, local net to Devnet. Then this, so other things are okay. Let's retry now. Anchor deploy. It's still trying to send to the program Devnet. Oh, we forgot here. Devnet. So that's about 3 places. Programs.devnet. The registry, the URL should be URL of this RPC URL for Devnet. And then the third one under the cluster should be Devnet as well. So let's retry now. Yeah, deploying, you can see it. Authority, so just on deploying Counter Program, program paths. So this is deploying to Solana Devnet. Cool, deploy successfully, and now we have this. We can go and check the transaction ID, and for sure this also become the normal program ID. So let's go here to sourcescan.io, and you want to change this to Devnet, not mainnet. Devnet, select transaction, and here you go. We have the transaction gone through, you see, like 48 seconds ago. The signer, remember, that's our wallet. You can see it, 5WKU and SADN. You see it. So then some things, once it's created an account, deposit show for it and things like that. And finally, if we move down, we see deploy program. So we deploy this program here. And if we look at the new payer program account, then the data account for that program, which like I showed you here, you see it inside that account program, you have the execution actual program, then you have the data account attached to it. So that's what we've got here. So if we go to that account that was created for us, program that we deploy, then we got this. Then you can see it, the executable data, and then the upgrade is our wallet, but this is the data account. That's this second one that will keep the data, and this is the executable one. So let's see, you can see it has some source because it will save data and things like that. So these are one of those things that make deploying cost a bit costly on mainnet, because a lot of these accounts also need rent fee and some other things like that to store storage and all those things. So we have this now, the account ready. I think I can pin this, and then we have the data account. So anything we know now, we can begin to check here. This was the first we deploy with we did the deployment. So any interaction we did. So the next thing now is that we need to initialize this PDA, but we do all that from the front end. So which create the counter, and then anyone can increment it. So this, we got our function. So we got our Solana Counter Program working as expected, at least now. So we can move on, I believe, to the second section, which is about integrating a Solana Anchor program, and then we are using the Counter Program as an example to integrate it into your Solana Mobile dApp using React Native Expo. So we can minimize this for now and close a lot of this. So we are back here to, so this section now will now focus on bringing it our Solana program inside a next React Native Expo, not Next.js, React Native Expo app. So let's check. Remember, we're already running our emulator, and it's indeed, the more app I run, the more draining it become on my CPU and RAM and all those things. So in case you see your system crashing when you are doing some of these things, those are part of, especially when you are now also deploying and running Anchor build and things, consume a lot. So here we go. Let's see. First, minimize Solana program. Remember, we are inside there, so you don't get confused. Inside the normal mobile Anchor counter, and here is the Solana programs. We've dealt with this, and now we'll go back to the what we would have called the front end in web, like so. But we are talking about the mobile app actually, so which also serve like the front end anyway. So here we are back here. We have our blank screen, which is here, and here this is our app now running. Like I said, is it still connected? Let's see. Blank screen to most time it's easily just get disconnected, so we need to go back to the terminal. Oh, it has even cut off entirely. So let's rerun it. Our npx expo start again. So always ensure you have this connected before you start making changes, so that at times the changes are working but not seeing it here on your actual device might just be this connection has issue, so you need to fix it. So let's run A to reopen the app, which is now a dApp because we have Solana integrated. So we can see it now, and here we go to dot. So things now working live, cool, as expected. So here, once we want to do our connection with our function to start doing this, to initialize this PDA, I think so to initialize the PDA and then the counter, this also interact back is like a two-way something here. Yeah, so now to make sure we achieve this, we need some things. One of those important things is our IDL and types that we have here. So before that, inside the components, let's create a counter, new folder, call it counter. So that's we contain everything about our counter. So I think the first set of things I want to move there is inside this target. So I want to copy, because most times this could be issue. So I want to copy both of them, IDL and type. Then I want to put it here directly. Once you are, if not later, if you need it, you may have issue. So this doesn't change except to change your program. So I want to paste it here. Counter copy, no. So I didn't move it, I just copy it over. Yeah, and then we can hide this and ensure we are inside here. The source for the app, and then we are inside the component, and inside the new folder counter, we have the IDL, and then we have the types. So cool that we have both. We'll come back to them later. So there are some things we need to create, about 5 to 6 files. So from the previous one, we work with all these, which handle, when you are building Solana mobile app, it's different from when you are building through the web, which you use Solana Mobile Adapter, Solana Wallet Adapter. But when you are dealing with mobile, you use Solana Mobile Wallet Adapter. So we have set all this in the previous course. You can go and watch it. I won't go over them again. So the only one is this new ones we want to introduce. Now we want to interact directly with a Solana on-chain program. So we want to set up Anchor because we are using Anchor. So to make a lot of things much easier for us to do. So for us to do that, we need to set up Anchor from to connect with the mobile wallet. We are not using the normal wallet adapter now. So we are using the mobile wallet adapter through, I think, Web3 JS wrapper. So we need to do that. So inside here, you want to create new file. Hope you are seeing it, which we will name useAnchorWallet.tsx. So just like this, mobile wallet, and then authorization help to keep it persistent. So that's why when our app will reload it, we don't need to always sign in all the time. That will be frustrating for users. So anytime they close your app and then come again, they need to sign in. It's better you can use lock. So they have to be persistent. That's what this does, and this connects to the wallet, mobile wallet adapter. So, and this now help with the Anchor wallet adapter. So I will put the code here for you. All this, like I said, you can always pull in your AI if you get any question or things you don't understand, or you are starting it. The AI can create some of this for you. So basically you are importing all this from Web3.js, your public key transaction, version transaction, because you'll be doing transaction, because you want to sign and increment, you want to initialize account, you want to increment. So it involves transaction, and you are using Memo to ensure state when there are no changes. There's no need to refresh those things. Then you want to use your normal, after this, use mobile. You can watch the previous Solana Mobile Course 001, and we explained this. I'm not going over it again. The summary is just this is set up to use the Solana Mobile adapter, wallet adapter. You can see it through the wrapper from Web3.js and the protocol as well. So then this use, like I told you, it help to make things persistent. So using this React Native async storage, so we need to access both of them because the wallet is after already integrated. So it's just to link the Anchor as well for them to work together. And you can say export interface, Anchor wallet, you have your public key, then you have the signed transaction. All this has, like, go to type definition, go to type. So if we go inside, it shows us some things about how this is expected. Source. So, and how all these are used and implemented. So you can use those things to check them. So that's why you see, I want to hide this for a while. Yeah, so that's why you see this transaction and then the promise for sign up transaction. Then you have this function use Anchor Wallet, the selected account. Remember, this is coming from the use authorization, which I told you is to ensure persistency. So it's want to pass like object, that is the account selected, is it in or not, and things like that. Then also want to access the mobile wallet, Then normally you use your with memo to keep track and things like that. Then return the signed transaction. Use sign and send transaction, but only return the signed transaction. So all this are what is going on, and then sign each transaction individually, and we got all this returned for. So based on what is returned there, we can now use it in our component inside the counter component. So now that we have the Anchor wallet done, all those things you will have access in the repo. And like I said, also I may try to contribute some of these things to the official if they approve it. You might also see it in the official repo. If not, you can always check the programming university repo to see it, which for this one Anchor will be here. And remember to give it a star if you find it helpful before you fork it and use it. So let's go back here. So now at the same time, if you like what I'm doing, want to support, please use the donate link below. This is not easy bringing it to you and all free in-depth courses. I want to say thanks in advance. And at the same time, you can also recommend, if you belong to a project in Solana, you can recommend them to partner with us to support with grants, donation and more to keep this on, or even become official sponsor, and then we can feature them under the sponsor as well. So like, subscribe, share, tap notification bell. Got question you can ask below as well, and join the email list to stay up to date with our Web3 developer update tools, because I'm working on offers, maybe even some, if I see some Web3 developer, Solana job, developer job offer and things like that, I may share it as well there. So now if we come back to, we have the blank screen like I said, and we want to work on, let me pull up the emulator. So are we still up to date? Yeah. So you have to always do a test. If not, this thing can just disconnect anytime, even though it's still showing here. So we need to now create some things inside the here, so which will help us to do a lot of work with what we are doing. So the first one, we want to, inside the counter, want to create a folder. We want to call it counter dash data access.txx. So what this does for us is, this is what we actually communicate with our Solana program, counter program, and then spread every other thing with other components so that we have. And for us to have that, I have a code here for us as well. So let's pull it and let's quickly go through what some of them might have for us. So we have this Anchor provider, which is imported from Anchor. I think I need to expand this. So from Anchor, and then if we check here, you see now that it's saying error. This is not found, and the problem is because if we check our package JSON, we didn't have anything like Anchor here, so we need to install it. So to install it, you can just copy whatever this is at Cora Anchor, copy, and there's one we use to run our yarn. So make sure you are inside this main folder, not this root folder, not inside where we run our program. It can be confusing. Please pay attention. So inside there, we want to do yarn add, and then this. So what it does is, if you have a particular version, let's say we want it to be in line with the same version we are using over there, then you can put at 0.30.1. So, but because it might not have effect, if it does, I just want to install the latest that it has here. But if it has, then you can adjust. So this will likely install the 0.31.1. So you see it now, and you see that all those issues has gone. If we go back here inside package.json, you see it will now have Anchor, and I told you so it will pull in the latest there. We can just close it now. We've installed that. So this imports then Anchor, like this gives us access to use Anchor and a lot of things. Then buffer, from buffer, we are on React Native Expo. So, and on mobile development, some things you are used to on web that just works, doesn't just work on web, on app, mobile app. So that's why we need all this polyfill, buffer, and things like that. So that's why we even have this polyfill here already. So you see the buffer and all those things. So we talked about that in the first course, you can watch as well. So then we import the basic counter from basic counter program. So where did we see that? This is coming from our Solana program here, which inside program, remember, then inside here we have the target and we have the IDL. So, but since we now have it there, I will be showing you from there. We have copied it over here. So this will now become helpful now and useful for us. So we have all these basic counter, and then we have the types as well. So this is basic counter. That's where we saw this and imported this. So this basic counter, we want to import it as basic counter program from here. And you see there is an issue here because we didn't have this. So we can just add components at component slash, let me clear this. Then we have counter here as identified for us. Is it? I think this is coming from SRC. Counter types. Basic as basic. We already have it here. Counter component SRC component counter. Basic counter. Alright. Can't find module corresponding. And coming, let's use maybe the previous format. If it says counter program, let's see, let's try something. So that's the other one target basic, but here now I want to go inside src / components / counter / types then / basic counter. Yeah, this can be issue at times, so I think we can just use the same thing to fix this. We need to clear everything first. src / components / counter / IDL / basic. Yep, error fixed. So that could be some issues at times. So, and as usual, we are using our use connection from all the utils that we have here, like connection program, provider, all this Anchor, and then you are using use query and things to make things much better. So match the exact host program structure interface counter account. This is what expect count, change from Anchor, then bump match Rust U8. So if you go back, all these are to match what we got inside program. You see it, the size and the bump and all those things like that. So you see it, count U64, bump U8. Count value 8 bytes, the bump value for PDA 1 byte. So all these are going hand in hand together. So then we update counter account status type to include the raw data. Then, like I told you, this polyfill structure, I really went through a lot with it. It was giving me headache. I fixed a lot of things before I research and discover it about the issue from this React Native mobile interface. So I have to do all this, but because the Anchor was using some functions that is easily accessible through mobile, through the JavaScript engine MS, but it's not accessible on web, but not accessible on mobile. So I have to do all this polyfill. So in case you see all those issues like that, then the counter ID, program ID. So over here now, we need to change this to match what we have here. So the program ID is actually F8. Then we got to change this. Yep. So we got to have this changed now. Then the main function we have here now is to use the counter program. Remember I told you the main thing we have here is to create a connection between our mobile app UI and the Solana program on the Solana Devnet blockchain. So those contain create ID from constant. So we need to initialize our program. I remember it's a PDA account because that's why I do this for you. So we are initializing this, then we can start incrementing and keep track of whatever we are incrementing. So that's what all this about create provider when wallet is available. So, and when you are dealing with Anchor, Solana program and things like that, you need the provider which deals with connection and things, which undo cluster, is it on mainnet, is it on devnet and things like that, or local net. Then it also try to know, is this transaction confirmed and things like that. So then we initialize the program. So you can see all this as well. So we try to initialize the program, Then query counter account data. This one is majorly for us to, once the account is, we want to use it to query the account to know if the account exists, and if it exists, we use it to display the number of counter that is there. That's what all this is about. I had issue using Anchor. Normally I shouldn't use some of this, direct manual deserialization, but on React Native it was issue that work easily on web, but it wasn't. So I have to try this alternative. Sometimes with multiple AI I had to try together before I was able to fix it, because trying to deserialize the normal Anchor, which works seamlessly on web, was a serious headache here. So all this just handles that. And then we have this refresh interval. Remember that what we want to have is to have an interface that displays the counter. So we want to have something that auto refreshes in like milliseconds. I think this is like 2 seconds or so. So for us, I think 1000 of this is about 1 second. So maybe about 1 to 2 seconds, to ensure that the interface is always up to date to get the freshest status from the blockchain. So the initialize account, this one is for us when we are using the initialize button to initialize the PDA. And then we also have the function to increment. So this is query, this initialize, and this increment. So those are the major 3 things here, apart from initializing the program itself. We want to check the counter account back and forth when it's updated. Is it initialized and things? Then we want to initialize it even first, then when we increment it, and this help keep track of it. And so we want to return all those essential things for any other component that may want to make use of it. So some other component that we surely be using it is, we have let's create the feature. Let's minimize this. Inside there again, let's create a new file again and call that counter button group. So or whatever. So this will help undo our button, because we surely have button to initialize, button to do a lot of things like that. So that's what this will do. And I have a code here as well, which basically, if you run through it, is just showing us importing, styling, the more of button. Then we are using the use counter program. Remember all these ones that we return, and some other things like that. So we are making use of them. Then use authorization as well. So because this should also deal with the wallet and more. So we import, declare those ones, say counter account increment, all these things. Now we are accessing them here and putting them into to hold, like we can be able to initialize them and then access them here. Check wallet and account status, then button state. So we want to make sure when a button, depending on the flow that we want to have, is that when a user connects wallet, when a user, there's no wallet connected, so it should tell the user to connect their wallet. Then when the user connects the wallet, it should allow them the initialize button. which connect to this. So this initialize button. So over here we want to connect wallet. Wallet. Then over here we want to do what? Initialize button. So we want to have the initialize button here. So that's what this, and this trigger this initialize the PDA and all those things. And when this is done, then we can now allow the increment button, increment buttons. So there are multiple there. You can so we can just break it. This the Solana, and then this the UI. So over here now, this also crossing over to trigger this increment. So here we can have Solana Program, onchain program. Then over here we can have the Solana Mobile UI. So using React Native Expo. Yeah. So here we have these two now. So, and I've been able to divide them here. So now we have these two sides. So we need this connect wallet. We need to initialize button. Then when we connect our wallet, when we don't connect our wallet, all this button does nothing. They are inactive. Then when we connect wallet, this check, which we did then, is the PD account initialized? If it's not, then you can click the initialize button. If it is, they disable this and allow the increment button. So then the increment button are always active after that, after initialize, for you to increment. And when you increment, it goes into the PDA account, and the PDA always trigger update with your actual Solana counter to keep track of what is going on, because this is always attached to this. So let's go back here. So that's what this is about. We are returning the view, and this is the button, and your buttons has a lot of things, like just like I told you, when this is not connected, all these are deactivated. When this is connected, you check and things like that. So I've explained that. Those are what we are having in code. Yeah, and we want to have a button, like 3 buttons, one to increment by 1, 2 by 5, and the other one by 10. Then we also want to have the initialize button. So all these try to make use of those things here. So another one we want to have here to add, let's create all those things first, is counter feature.txx, and inside there I have a code for you, which what the code does is to import the counter start and the button group. So we need another one here call the counter starts. Let's initiate a new folder file, counter starts.tsx, and right there we have this. So basically what this does is it helps undo the starts. You know, we are showing start, what's happening with the number of counter and all those things like that. And then it also get counter waiting. So all these are what undo to tell when user open the app here to know if they need to connect wallet first and things like that. So then they can use the counter as well. And this, I think this also include the section I called the debugging, because when I was building this app I had a lot of issues, and because debugging of mobile app is not as straightforward as web. So like you just pull up your what do we call it, you pull up your specs and then your console, and boom, you begin to have a lot of all those things that is going on. It's not the same thing like that when you are building mobile. So you can use, for sure, if you are here, you can do J, it prop up this big debug. But one of those things, at times when you are using this debug, if you do any changes, it might not happen again in you might not see the update. So having another window outside of the app and all those things is not the same. So that's why I introduced this debug myself, so that it now become part of the Solana program. It gives you some info right away for you to know what's going on. So we'll put all this together now in the UI, and we should be able to know what is going on. So let's have, I think, let me refresh, because if not it would have just disconnected the emulator. So always test if we are connected or not. Hide that. Go to blank screen. Okay. And save. Yeah, so we are still connected. Now let's go back to counter feature. Now import the stats and then this button group that undo this. I know the button group already deals with this data and some other ones like that, so you can recomment it on comment, then it fixed because it's now there. So these are the 1, 2, 3, 4 component that we need. The counter data access, that interface between the app, Solana Mobile App UI and React Native Expo UI, and the Solana on-chain program, makes everything easier for us. And then other ones now try to manage whatever is being shown to us. So let's now see, and to do the final, we can make use of our blank screen. Should we use that? We can make use of it and then use it to display our app. And one of those things you need to do is just to import our screen, our UI that we've already built. So that could be one of the options we want to do, or maybe we should just try to create a screen on it. Oh, that was what I did when I was testing it anyway. So now we can just use the blank, but yet I think I want to add one more screen. Then this will always remind us that we should keep building. Yes, and so this will be next. So let's do that. For us to do that, let's go here inside the screen, new file, and want to have counter screen .txx, and then we want to have this code. So you see that it's just It's just a basic normal, just like this. Then we import this counter feature, you remember, which already pull everything together, the counter start and the counter button, which already make use of this data access IDL and all those things. So inside it now, we want to have this counter screen. Then once we import it, all these are just scroll. I had to put this scroll view compared to this normal view because the details you will see it might be bigger than the screen. So there should be opportunity for the user to scroll up and down to access any hidden or other details or button and things like that. So that's why we have that. Then we want to have a text as a title at the top, similar to this, just like we have like home screen, we have this title. So we got that, and then we are importing the counter feature, which is this component. So let's get back inside. If we go here, the counter screen. So the normal, every other thing is just our styling. So for us to, but you will notice even if we have saved all this, we refresh or reload, it's not having, because we didn't set it up to pick this navigation manually. So what we want to do is we need to touch some things here, which like the navigator, for example. So we have the app navigator, and then we have the home navigator. I think we'll go inside the home navigator. So we want to locate where we have all this. You can see it now. If you see it well, you see that we have home. That's the switch, like we have, which is this name. Then we have this blank, which become this. Then we return this using material community icon to give it a beautiful, if not it will just be blank. Then we import the tab.screen here. So inside there now, if we want to do it, we need to import it before it will show inside the home. So I will need to come here. The AI might even fill it for us. Let's see. Tab.screen. Counter component. We don't need anything complex. We just need the same thing. Name should be counter. Sorry. Aha. So it seems. Counter. Let's reload. Okay, let me save first. Good, you can see it now that we now have this home, we have counter, and then we have blank. But counter is showing the same thing like home because it's that AI just overwork on overdrive. So instead of home, it should bring this screen. You can call any of these screens you have here. So for example, if I call account, let me see, settings, sorry, account screen, and load. Then if I click here, you see, try to bring in account screen. So you see it's not home. So we need to fix this. Instead, what we need to bring in is our actual counter screen. Counter screen. Yeah. And then when we save this now, It's refreshing. Cool. You see it now? So counter need initialization. Are you getting what I'm saying now? You see that I can scroll. If you have it on your normal device, you have the same thing. And you see that immediately inside this, let me pull it a bit more up for you. We start seeing some things. I wanted to expand this. We start seeing some things here which are part of what I put inside the code to help you with debugging. So in case if some things are not working, so inside this your terminal here, you can see it saying checking counter account, is able to identify counter program initialized with ID. You understand? So then counter program initialized with ID, checking counter accounts, but it's not able to, do a lot more than that yet. Let's minimize this. So that's with these things I put here to help you. You can, and the same thing with this as well. So show Solana program info. So I figure out to make the debugging much easier and at least still make it fit the UI. So by doing that, I introduce this show Solana program info. If you bring it up, you click on it, you see it. It tries to identify a PDA for you, and then status, it said it's not initialized. A lot of these accounts can be pre-calculated to know that by the on Solana. So by the time, it's just like before we even deploy our program on the Solana Devnet, we already know the address. So there is a lot of calculations that goes in, cryptographic, mathematical, and all those things calculation to do that. I think on something curve and things like that. So I hope this will likely be correct at the end of the day, but it has not been initialized. So there's no raw data, there's no count. And if I try to click here, you see that none of this is working, but this is the only one that's working now. You see it. So onchain counter need initialization. So all these are coming from the start. You see it. Waiting for wallet connection, not counter need initialization, initialized. So if no program waiting. So for me here now, for us to start, actually let's even disconnect totally. I think we use Solflare initially, so let's stick to that. So you can as well use Phantom. I said like those two for now. Always remind you, not a real money, just for development. So we are back here, and you can see that it changed this now to waiting for wallet connection, which is what you have here. So if we decide to change this, if we change this wallet connections, you'll see it should change here as well. So this mobile development group, you may need to refresh again. So just come, you don't need to cancel, just click add. Like web, just at times things just disconnect, and yeah, we don't have our wallet connected, so we couldn't see. So we have the counter, you see it, waiting for wallet connections. Let's clear it and put Alright. So most time you need to before it connection. So that's it. Anything we do here, then when we click this Solana program info, which I just give it that name, but that it helps you to debug some things. the PDA, the status, because all these has already been calculated inside the counter data address. And don't forget that the counter data address already have this program. So it was able to calculate, and the PDA is expected to be derived from this program with some other things like that. So let's see. So that's what you are seeing, all this. And like I think I was showing you, yeah, all this inside this counter account and all those things like that. So the initialize is the one for this and increment for this. So any other thing here before we test? So here we can connect our wallet, and immediately we do that. So like as well I said, you can also use Phantom. In the Phantom, when you are doing connection, if you have used Phantom very well, it also give you some details of the account involved. So maybe we'll try it together as well. So 1 5 10 initialize counter. So you now see it that it now said counter need initialization, but yet these are not working. So let's try this, if this will work. But this is not looking cool compared to others, so this needs some adjustment here. The counter screen. So for us, we need to go back to that home navigator and include something like this case now. Let's just copy it, copy, and replicate it here as well. So instead, this become, no, we want the second one. So this should become counter for counter, right? You see it, because we are using this application something. So we want to change this to another icon. So I'm looking like which icon we should use there. So here let's use something relating to time. I think timer. There's like a timer outline. So then we just repeat the same here. Yeah. 0 because there may not be. So let's see. Cool. So this look more like counter icon. So you can see it now. We are beginning to transform our Solana Mobile App. So from just this and this. So we have this now. It's now time. Let's try to initialize it. I think as I do that, let's see what's going on in the terminal here. So I output all this, but most time you won't get this except you put it in your code yourself, which make troubleshooting mobile app a bit more complex than web. So let's initialize counter. Like I said, all this one aren't working. So but if we tap here, you see it. Initialize, we are using Solflare, so we stick to that. And you can see it now. That says it want to initialize and it will cause some so and things like that, and then we can slide to approve it. So if you are on Phantom, it will give you more details of those accounts that will be involved. Cool, we got it successful. So transaction ID and all those things. So I can just click here, copy the transaction ID, then close this to go back to the app. So this might be some of those things you want to work on. It should be able to pick, but mobile isn't easy to fix all these things. So I think we should be able to work on. It says signature verification failed because it's not able to wait and retrieve that signature from the wallet. You know that the transaction wasn't done within the app. You have to go inside, and so it wasn't. So it should get this, but actually it was done. So you now see it that this initialize counter has gone inactive and these ones are now active, and you can see it that right away the status change, no counter value yet, use increment button to add. So I add all those steps to make it easier for you as you build with it. So, and you can see it that it was correct. We'll still confirm. Then we have initialize, we have the raw data, and pass count account. So we can't initialize again because this already have an account. You can see it. You can see it now. So if we add this, these are the ones that are now active. But before we use it, we copied from that transaction. Then let's go back to our normal browser and check those transactions out. First, if we go back here inside this transaction which we deployed, which is the program itself, and we refresh it, reload it, it should record those transactions. Do you see it? Remember, based on this, everything is tied to this Solana Counter Program, including the PDA was derived from it, and then whatever goes on with it will still be trackable from here. So if we go back, we have done this initialize, then we'll go to increment. So we see it now, and that's the same thing 5n. If I look at this something we copied, you will see it. It will likely be, you see it, 5n. So it's the same thing from what we copied from the Solflare. If I paste it here, you see it, 5nhy. So it's the same thing. And if you go look at the transaction, you see all this, you will see it, accounts. This is the account that was initialized. So you can see it now, program logs, initialize. So that was the, we have two functions that need to be done inside our counter program, which is to this is it, initialize function, and the second one is to increment. Those are just the two other ones are the Anchor way of knowing which account that we make all this function, initialize, the PDA and all those things work. But the main function is just these two, initialize and increment, and that is what we have got here, return sources and other things. It's so instruction initialize, that's what we got here. So that's the function based on the Solana program we deployed. So if we go back here, address, let's go back to Emulator. So we got this now, is now, and you see that the address was actually this. So you see that the bug I introduced inside here really helped, because it helped you to identify the PDA even before being initialized, has been calculated. So this is the PDA, is now initialized. This is the raw data, which is now deserialized using this function inside this counter account and all those things to deserialize and then show it over here. So this pass record as many of accounts you have. So now that we have this, let's try to add a counter. We use all the button. So the first one will give us +1. So we are still using Solflare, and then the next one, so make sure the wallet is already on Devnet and all those things. We did the setup in the first video. So no changes because we are interacting with the PDA. Then this is success. You can copy the transaction ID as well if you want. Just for confirmation, you say 4B. Then you close to go back to the app. Got this, but it worked. You say count 1, and then we have count 1. So deserializing Anchor program in React Native Mobile isn't an easy thing. It took me juggling some days and while preparing for this weekend, so it wasn't really easy, but I was able to. That's why I also introduced this Solana Program info. I hope you find it helpful. Let me know in the comments. So it gives you a lot of details. If we go back here, we can just clean this and paste this here, which we copy, you say 4B1. But always, you will always have the record in your program because that's where everything is attached to. You see it, 4B11. And also our PDA account, if you open it, yeah, you can also use it to track because you are interacting with it. So it's also similar to the account because you're actually incrementing things relating. It also be tracking everything you do there. The previous one we used to initialize it. You see, we created account, and then from now on we'll be using this. And if we click on it, you see that this time around the instruction we ran was increment, and based on the number we pass in there, we are able to increment this by 1. So that's it over here. And if we go back to the emulator, we surely now see it here. So we want to increment it by 5 again. So for me to do that, let's go back to see how things are working even with the wallet, and then I will also use Phantom to show you some of the account breakdown. So make sure you have already, set up. So I think it's based on the wallet we used to initialize it. Oh, sorry, not connect. So we started with Solflare, so it wasn't doing the transaction, so it just log out. So you see it now, initialize, status no program, waiting for wallet connection. So let's now connect using Phantom just once so that I can use Solflare later as well. So that will pick up and say fake domain and things like that and connect. Each wallet work differently. I see it that it first tried to show, but by the time it connect and check with the blockchain, it discovered that this has already been initialized. So this gray out and these ones are now working. So let's add more counter. Yeah, we are using Phantom this time. So I believe you found this helpful and well detailed. No balance change. I see account and fee, and if you click advanced, you will see those accounts you are interacting with, like compute, and then remember the program ID or the program we deployed, this F something. So that's why it's always in keeping track. So we come back, then confirm, and usual error here. but this has been added because we now have 6 and things like that. You see it now. So that's how you can continue to add each of these works. Let me see if I can just use Solflare, or it will just log me out like that one did. So it seems based on the wallet you use, you cannot just in the middle of the now just use another wallet. So you have to first disconnect, do transaction with that same wallet. You see it, everything reset back to 0. And then if I connect again with Solflare and connect. So what the wallet you connect with is the same you have to be using to. So we got 6 and then let's add 10. Hey. I went and clicked. Sorry. Let's see. Hope it has not even disconnected us. So if it has not, this will show us. Yeah. So fake the anything like that. And here we go. So success again, we close it. We have done 2 transactions now, and everything total 1 plus 5 plus 10 is 16, and you can keep adding as many as you want, so that you know that it's not just limited to those. It's just as many times as you click it. Close. And then 16 plus 5 should be 21. So instantly I've done those to keep checking like 2 seconds, and so by the time you even come back from your wallet, it already updates and you can see everything here, and everything is going as you are adding. Checking counter. For wallet, checking counter and things like that. So everything you keep checking, and you see it here now, and as many, and you can hide this and just have a bit of fanciness here, but this give you also some more details about what is going on. We have really did so in depth in this, so that is how I do these courses. Yeah, I don't just do pim and then you are confused. This is where you come, especially when you want to get more clarity with all this development, Solana Web3 development content. So what you want me to also work on, you can suggest in the comment, or you are part of team or community of a Solana project, 3 projects that include development and want in-depth course for them featured in this series, you can reach out as well. Don't forget to support with donation, and if also belongs to team or recommend us to partner, give us grant, help me to do this. Pulling this is not easy, with grant, with sponsorship and more to keep this going. So you can see it as well, and all these are working. So we have this. I think I will push this to this. So by the time you will be checking, this counter dApp repo, you should have update of all this as well. So, and maybe also the official, if probably push something to them. If they approve it, fine. You will also be able to see it inside the sample section if you go to the documentation. If not, you can always just use this directly from the programming. This one is a fork of it from the programming. The link will be in the description as well of the video, so you can always just make use of it to build your counter. So how is it? And in the exercise section, you want to now, we have this done, but our blank is still there. So what should we build next in this mobile blank? And I think hackathon, a lot of things are about to start or something, depending on where you are watching the video. I think that will be the first Solana Mobile Hackathon. So I'm more like that, Grant. I'm also, you want to check it out, learn a lot, go to the first Solana Mobile Development Course 01. I think link will be in the description. Or check on our X account as well, and share it with me. The link will be in the description as well in the X account, so you can watch like this episode 2. Now we have this for course 1 for beginner and all those things. So you tweet, like, interact, follow, and recommend, support with donation. I want to say please and thanks in advance to keep this up. This is like a full-time work throughout the week to build, test, and all this and prepare for course, going through editing and all those things like that. So that's it for this video. I believe we were able to achieve taking it from just this and blank page to now having a counter with details deployed on chain, and a lot we learned, including this and building Solana Program, testing it, deploying it, building it, deploying it on Solana Devnet, and being able to track everything that is going on with it right from here. And so we have the IDL and everything to make it even much easier. So which means even if you deploy, you can instantly start interacting with this already deployed one. But when you deploy your own, make sure you remember to replace this IDL and types. And usually if you don't change anything, what you just need to replace might be this, but replace everything to be safer, because the discriminator things like that may differ. So just change this and change this, and then you are good to go to have a start, fresh start. That is it. And we test this. And if I check here now, the balance should have changed, because remember we deployed the program before we start using this. So and the program, when we deploy it, anyone can initialize it, but once it's initialized once, that PD account, any other person can now interact, increment and decrement it. So that's it. Hope do you also like trying to also explain this, and then it might not look fancy, but I feel it's give me opportunity to give you more clearer basic feature description. And there we built this, and share with me, like, subscribe, tap notification bell, join the email list for React Native Developer support, and I will see you in the next with the donation, and I'll see you in the next episode. Peace, and please remember to always do good to humanity and nature with your crypto knowledge and not evil, to make the world and universe better place for us. And please keep the programming spirit high and alive. Respond in the comment, because it's the only assurance to succeed as a developer. Bye.